Jenna Ortega and Beetlejuice 3 in the works? What?
Dun, dun, dun.
Got to go to thelatinoslant.com to read all about it. But in a stunning and in-depth interview with Warner Brothers' Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdy, Deadline asked the latest rumors about Jenna Ortega and Tim Burton's return for a third Beetlejuice. And the answer was short and sweet. Deadline, I mentioned getting a new version of the Bodyguard underway. Are you already developing sequels for both Minecraft and Beetlejuice? Beetlejuice? DeLuca, imminently. The ink might not be dry on the deals, but yet imminently. As we have previously covered in 2024, the young Latino audiences made the Tim Burton comedy a hit. A very strong turnout that opening night, Hispanic moviegoers at 36%. Right? And at that point, I called it. They're going to greenlight a third movie. I thought they would do it sooner. I'm betting that they did. This is just the first public announcement. I go on over the box office numbers of that preview night, of that preview weekend of Beetlejuice, starring Jenna Ortega. Young people and Latinos over-indexed as the core audience. Deadline article. Females made a date with Michael Keaton, Jenna Ortega, Winona Ryder sequel at 59%, 73% being over 25. Girls also outnumbered boys, 62 to 38%. A very strong turnout among Latino and Hispanic moviegoers was at 36%. Catch more breakdown that we did last fall in our video. The video is linked there to our story, and more details are ongoing. We're going to be more will be developed. But what we're saying here is that this is a no-brainer if you're Warner Brothers. Because if you look at they're looking at the numbers, and they saw the numbers. Tim Burton, Beetlejuice, and Jenna Ortega brought in a new, younger Latino audience that over-indexed, made our movie more of a hit. Let's do another one, as they did with Scream. The Scream movies, the two last ones, were the biggest domestic hits for that IP franchise. That's what they want with Beetlejuice. So, and that's what they got. And I think that's a big reason why you're seeing the greenlit, and then why DeLuca and Abdy even mentioned it and was asked this. Fletcher, what are your thoughts?
No, I think it was. I think it was a bit of a mistake not to do kind of like a extra shots to start setting up 3 already, because I think they kind of knew that this was gonna ramp it up, because they didn't have really much any competition, and the studios are thirsting for actual material. So I was quite surprised they didn't do shots into Beetlejuice 3, kind of like what people are doing now. It's where they're saying, okay, we're gonna do something with this production, and we're gonna set up some things for the next one. Kind of like they did with Wednesday, right? They knew that it was already kind of going, so they kind of like, let's just kind of keep going. Let's shoot some stuff so we have some stuff to work with. So the turnaround is not as long.
Do we know that Tim didn't do that?
I didn't hear anything about that. I mean, Tom would know more than I would on it, because I didn't hear any extra shots being done on this movie, because I know that it was hard to get some of the people into it. It cost them. I mean, most of the budget, it goes on the actors on this one, right? So the use of the stop motion and all stuff, that takes time and just precision. It's not as much as super costly. So in a sense, I feel like I would have done a lot of shots with things that are cheap, like the stop motion claymation type stuff that he uses for it, things like that, and maybe kind of pushed on a little bit of extra shots just to get myself situated. You know how they sometimes do kind of like a recap sometimes when they do like a third installment type of deal where they have to like pick up a story or flashbacky stuff that you didn't see in the first one.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
I think if they would have done that in this one, they could have probably turned it around because I fear that the availability of Jenna is gonna maybe get in the way of this film, even though I'm sure that she would prioritize it. But we don't know what she's circling. Wednesday 3 is coming up, and if you know the way that they're working with Netflix is that they're not doing like a lot of seasons on their shows anymore, like they
mm-hmm,
used to,
mm-hmm.
unless they're the guarantee shows. Then those
Correct.
ones, yes, they are doing more with. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure Wednesday's a guarantee show. So
Yes.
her availability on Wednesday, now that she's got more film roles, I mean I fear for this for the production of Beetlejuice 3 because like I said, if they would have gotten a little bit more done in the first ones, which I haven't heard, they could have. They could have gotten all like a bunch of shots with Jenna and the main cast. Um,
Yeah, perhaps.
Perhaps, but if they didn't, I fear for that production because it might take longer than sooner with
So
Jenna's new schedule.
it's interesting because the reason why I think it'll be sooner than later is because Burton and Jenna are they did the latest season of Wednesday last year, and it was probably already alerted to them that this was probably going to have a third one. So with Jenna's schedule, you got to understand with someone as big as Jenna, or like a Glenn Powell, a Sydney Sweeney, a Jenna Ortega, they're booked 2 to 3 years out, maybe even 5 years out for projects, right? And based on schedules and budgets, some take a priority. It's a miracle if you want your dream cast to get done. What we do know is Ortega has 3 films out this year that were filmed 2 years ago.
No, yeah,
So she is currently filming the new J.J. Abrams film, and maybe the next film will be this one. These types of films seem to get done quicker, Fletch, because they're the big IP films that the studio will say, "Hey, look, we'll fund you your next 3 finest kind films." And what I mean by that, her next 3 indie films, her next 3 Death of a Unicorns that no one saw. Those will get maybe cult followings, but they didn't make money, but they were personal, projects at first. It's like, all right, we'll fund that Death of a Unicorn, but you got to do this first. Happens all the time. So I'm thinking it's gonna get more of a priority, and the fact that she's gonna be doing it again with Burton, even more so. That's kind of an easy, um, um, you know, it's definitely a no brainer to greenlight. I think this was greenlit last fall, bro. I think the scheduling started last summer. Jenna, Tim, Michael Keaton, when can we get this on the books? Let us know. I think now, because of what we saw in this article, that was even mentioned. Does that make sense?
no, that makes sense.
So, but we'll see. What we do know is that Jenna is a really this generation's big one of this generation's 20 biggest stars right now. I'm very very curious as to the next five years for her, man. So listen, you guys can read all about that on our Latino Slant.
Bonzo says, my kid isn't getting any younger. Better be sooner. That's morbid, but
Well,
true.
and that is true. That's why I'm thinking that she is excuse me, they're gonna go faster with this because not only Michael Keaton but a lot of these guys in this film with these characters are older, right?
Yes.
Jenna's completely, that besides Jenna, everyone else is aging pretty rapidly, even Winona, Catherine O'Hara, Michael Keaton. So I do agree, Bonso.